Good evening. Happy Friday to everybody in my part of the world. And we've got Brother Jeff here with us tonight. Jeff, how are you?
Doing great.
And we have a special guest tonight that I would like to bring online here with us. Glenn, please introduce yourself.
G'day guys, I'm Glen Itzstein from Australia. That's me.
And guys, the reason I wanted to bring Glenn on with us is because Glenn he's a master Kamado operator or a pit master extraordinaire on the Kamado. He's one of the guys that I pay attention to, and
Awesome.
he's we're gonna have a look at some of the things Glenn does here shortly. But I wanted to welcome you, obviously, Glenn. Tell everybody where you're from.
Queensland, Brisbane, Australia.
And that's the East Coast, right?
Yes, East Coast.
Uh, and also, for people who are in my time zone, it's 8:30 p.m. here on Friday, and I believe it's 10:30 a.m. on Saturday where you are, correct?
Yes, it is, mate. Yes, it is.
I don't know what your rules are about drinking, but we have a drink here on Friday nights, and I'm going to pour a glass of Blanton's to wrap up my week, and I think Jeff may be having a drink with us as well.
Yeah. For me, there is no rule. You can drink anytime you like, but I've got to go driving after this. So I'm on the water this morning, unfortunately.
On the water.
On the water. Which is very
that
rare.
Might be nice. Are you going fishing?
No, I'm on the water.
Drinking on the water. See, okay, language barrier.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's
they
right.
They don't speak proper English in Australia, I don't think.
No, we don't. We speak our own English. We speak Aussie, and most people don't get it.
Well, how long have you been a barbecue and grilling enthusiast?
I bought my first Kamado probably around 8 years ago. Prior to that, I was a gas barbecue all the way until I saw the Kamado. And
so you and I probably weren't too terribly far apart getting into the Kamado game.
Well, we went looking for a cheap smoker, and in Australia, the Kamado definitely isn't a cheap smoker. But when I walked into Barbecues Galore and did the rounds, I kept on coming back around to the Kamado because it just looked so sexy. It was just a sexy unit, you know, it really was. And I was going furniture shopping with my wife, actually, and we went to the next store. She was looking at furniture, and I sat down and Googled Kamado Joe, and up came you, and just all the videos on how to use this thing. And I thought, oh, yeah, rightio. Well, there's a tutorial there for me to follow to work out how to actually use it. So we went and bought it. We had to wait for it. We had to wait a few months for it, but yeah, we went and bought it that day and never looked back.
Let's talk about Barbecues Galore for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very familiar with it, but I do, from what I see from the stateside in our social media outlets where we participate, it looks like Barbecues Galore is the barbecue dealer in Australia. How does that work? Are they like the biggest dealer in Australia? Are they just the biggest dealer in your area, or are they nationwide in Australia?
They are nationwide. They're a mix of franchised and individually owned, but I think they're mainly franchised.
So there's more than one location of that.
Sorry?
There's more than one location of that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, straight wide. From my house here, I can drive 30 minutes in either direction and hit a Barbecues Galore.
Okay.
So they're not too far apart, really. And they are definitely, I'd have to imagine they'd be the biggest barbecue supplier in Australia that's a barbecue joint, if you know what I'm saying. You can have some hardware stores sell other barbecues and so on and so forth. But as a barbecue supplier, yeah, I'd say Barbecues Galore would be the main one.
Are they a good company to work with?
Yeah, well, I've only done a few things with them. I've done some videos for their Facebook ads. We've got a good working relationship.
Do they have an excellent product line?
They
have
do.
top-notch equipment.
Yep, they do. You walk into one of their stores and it's always clean. It's just always set out nicely, and and staff are great. Everyone's helpful, and especially for the newbies that come in and really don't know what they're looking for a lot of the times.
Do they
Like
have
myself.
everything you need all the
Yep.
time?
Yep.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. I didn't know that they were a franchise. I kind of thought that maybe they were a 1 or 2 location operation, but that's good to know. So they carry Kamado Joe, obviously. Do they carry Big Green Egg as well?
No, I think back in the day they did. At some point that changed. Before I bought a Kamado, that had Big Green Eggs, I think. But when I say they're a franchise, I think people can buy into the franchise, but I think mainly it's a conglomerate of barbecues galore, and some people own the franchise.
Right. So you were a gas griller before you bought the Kamado Joe, and which Kamado Joe did you buy initially?
The classic,
The
classic
classic.
series 1. Yeah.
And you what do you have now? What's on your deck now?
The classic series 1, the junior, the Big Joe series 1, and the Big Joe 3.
Okay. How do you like the Big Joe 3? How do you
Love
like
it.
the differences between the 3 and the 1?
Well, honestly, the slow roller is what amazed me the most. I didn't really expect it to be. I thought it was a bit of a gimmick. When they came out with it, I went and had a look at it in store, and I thought, I can't see how this is going to make any difference, to be honest. Until I got it and used it, and I still can't explain why, but I love it.
I'm with you, and it's very difficult to explain to people the effect that the slow roller has on the cooking results. When I didn't know until I got mine. I was with you. I thought, is this a gimmick? And I couldn't think that it was after some of the conversations I had with Bobby Brennan at the time about this device and about the team of people that developed the design, and I just couldn't wait to try it. So when I got my classic 3, I never had them send me a Big Joe 3. I just stuck with the classic, and the first cooks I did on that thing there were noticeable differences in a lot of areas that I could tell between the slow roller and not having the slow roller. And the primary thing, the first thing I did on mine was not low and slow barbecue. I roasted a couple of chickens on mine at 450 Fahrenheit, nice and hot, and those were the most evenly cooked chickens. And the convection is improved in that design. I believe I get a lot better airflow in the cooking chamber, and it's hard to convince people that there is a difference. And the term gimmick is a term I really dislike. I think it's I don't know. It's a term that somebody might use when they don't trust something.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's difficult to convince somebody that the slow roller itself is as effective as it is at what it says it does. I do believe it improves the smoke flavor, and I mean, if you're obviously getting the same results I'm getting, or you wouldn't have brought it up. I mean, it's a very nice improvement along with other improvements. The second thing I like about the 3 series grills is the deeper base. That opens up a lot. I like cooking on the rotisserie better when I have charcoal even further away from the meat that's on the spit, and that's just, one advantage. That the base of that grill was designed 4 inches deeper because of the slow roller. That's the design that it needed for the slow roller to be most effective. But yeah, so you've got 3 Kamados. You've got a classic 1, a Big Joe 1, and a Big Joe 3,
and a junior.
And the junior, so 4. Yeah, I've got the junior as well. I'm not using my junior that much anymore. I need to do some cooks on it. I feel like I've neglected it. I've got another small portable charcoal grill that I've been showing more love than I've been showing the junior lately, but I need to do some cooks. Jeff, do you have the junior? You have a junior, don't you? No, you don't. Well, we got to fix that. We got to get that. get you a junior up there somehow. That's Glenn. How many people are in your household that you normally cook for when you cook?
Look, we've got a pretty big family. We've got 5 kids between us, but they're not always here. It's sort of like the Brady bunch. So sometimes it could be 3 of us, and sometimes it could be 7 of us. And if they've all got partners over, it could be 12 of us. So it's really it changes all the time. Like I'm home tonight by myself. I'm home all day by myself. So I don't know if I'll be doing any cooking at all. But in a couple of days' time, there might be 5 of us here. It's changes all the time.
So, which Kamado gets the most action at your house?
Once I got the Big J3, pretty much the Big J3 is the only one I cook on, to be honest. Just
Really?
because I'm enjoying it. Like you said before, the charcoal's further away from the grill. You can do a lot more direct grilling easier. Not that you couldn't do it on the other ones, but it just, and the slow roller, I love the slow roller. So,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, Big J3 is really copping a flogging lately.
Smoking wood. What are your smoking wood options in Australia that would be different from oak, pecan, cherry, apple, hickory, mesquite, things that we have here in the U.S.?
Ironbark is a big one. Macadamia wood, which is really good. It's like it's really good on pork. I like macadamia. It's like a dusty flavor to it. I can't explain it, but macadamia is good.
Have you ever
Ironbark.
had the opportunity to smoke with some of the woods that we smoke with here, hickory, for
Yeah,
instance?
yeah. We got hickory, pecan, plum, peach,
Is that
aprium.
all? Is that all imported, or is any of that grow natively there?
I can't. Well, the pecan, we do have pecan farms here, so I'd say most of it would be here.
Okay. So what's your favorite?
Cherry.
Cherry. Okay.
Yeah.
Cherry's one of my favorites as well. I like the blend of cherry and pecan. Those
Yep.
that the mix of those two produces an aroma that I just can't get enough of.
Yep.
So,
Pecan was my favorite before cherry. Yeah,
right.
pecan.
Have
I
you
love
have you ever
pecan.
mixed the two?
I haven't mixed pecan and cherry. No,
You
I'll
should
have to give that a mix.
give that a shot because the aroma you're going to get out of that's going to blow you away.
All
And
right, I'll try that tomorrow.
cherry also is a color enhancer. A lot of times, I get a lot of nice color on the meat from cherry and macadamia wood. Now that you've mentioned that, I'm gonna search that out because that sounds like something I might like to try. I've never seen it here. So, Jeff, do we have a source for macadamia? Have you ever seen macadamia?
I have not seen it.
I'm assuming that's the same macadamia from the nut.
Yeah,
The okay. The
I've had Americans ask me in the past about macadamia wood when I've cooked on it, and they've asked where you can get it from. How you going, Stephen? Another one's Banksia pods. I've never used them myself, but a lot of people in Australia like using the Banksia pods. I've never used it myself.
right. So, what do you know? I know you probably get asked this a lot. What are there any significant and major differences between Australian barbecue and American barbecue?
Yes and no. The one thing that is a big, well, I won't say a big thing, but like our pork spare ribs, when we get our pork's slaughtered a lot smaller than when it is in the States. So when we get our pork spare ribs, they're nothing the same size as what you guys get. Like people see you pull out these pork spare ribs like this and, oh, wow. And we get ours and they're like, oh,
Right.
they're not even comparable. So that's something like that. Terminology is probably a big thing. Terminology and
Yeah.
Celsius and Fahrenheit are probably the two major things in
Yeah.
barbecue in Australia versus America.
I've learned an interesting thing about Celsius and Fahrenheit when it comes to cooking, and it's not accurate, but it's close enough, and it's worked for me in the past. You can basically take the Fahrenheit temperature and cut it in half to have a Celsius temperature in terms of barbecue and grilling. It's not precision, but it's close enough. Like 500 degrees Fahrenheit is roughly 250 degrees Celsius. Uh, uh, 400 450 degrees Celsius is roughly 900 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know that from the Neapolitan pizza projects that I've done. And 200 degrees Celsius is roughly 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 20 degrees give or take one way or the other, but it's close enough. And that's what I've learned to do. Anthony's asking here is kangaroo a thing in Australia for barbecue? Is that a thing? I
It
don't
is a
know.
thing. It is a thing. Like lots of people eat kangaroo over here. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's a little bit too gamey for me. I've done a few kangaroo fillet stir fries, but the amount that I paid for that kangaroo, I could have gone out and got a really nice Scotch fillet of steak. So like it is a thing. People love kangaroo over here and crocodile.
So Australians love kangaroo in general.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say we all love it. I'm not a huge fan of it, but yeah, it is. Right. It is a big protein over here. Yeah.
So I wasn't gonna. I didn't even think to ask the kangaroo question. I don't know if I've never tasted it. I've never had it before. I don't know where to source that here in the States, but it's probably available somewhere. If I ever come across it, I'll get some, and then I'll look you up and have you tell me what to do with it. Is it lean? Is it really lean?
It is lean, yeah.
So
it's very lean.
Maybe it's like venison, or maybe like deer here in the United States.
It's made to be like you want to eat it rare, medium rare the most.
Yeah, okay. Lamb is a lot bigger thing in Australia than it is here.
Lamb
lamb's available here, but it's not as popular here in the barbecue community as it is down there. I see you guys cooking it all the time, and it's really good. I've done
popular at my house.
Yeah, so I've done some. In fact, I've got some chops in the refrigerator that I want to cook this coming week, maybe. But seafood, you do a lot of seafood as well.
Yeah, seafood's huge. Yeah.
Do you fish? Do you catch your own?
I do, but I'm a terrible fisherman. So
okay,
if I go out in my boat, we won't catch anything. If I go out in somebody else's boat, we've got a better chance.
That brings up another question I wanted to ask, and I should have asked you this in advance. But do you know Luke?
Yes.
Are you guys close to each other?
No. He's probably 12 hours away from me.
Oh, okay.
He's down south. Yeah, we talk quite a bit, Luke and I. But he's a mad fisherman, as you know.
Yeah, he's crazy on the water.
Yeah,
And now that I think about it, what I really should have tried to do is bring the two of you guys on together, because both of you guys are amazing examples of amazing stuff coming out of Australia. So what I want to do now is introduce my audience to this is Glen in front of his that would be his Big Joe 3 behind him back there. So Glen has a YouTube channel. For those of you that might not be familiar with it, it's called Glen's Aussie Barbecue. And Rob, I'm showing you that right here. That's his YouTube channel, Glen's Aussie Barbecue. And Glen, do you have a Facebook page other than your personal Facebook account?
I do have a Facebook page. It's Glen's Aussie Barbecue as well. It's only it's only like 3,000 people, and we actually hit it from the search engines on Facebook when we hit 2,000, because I didn't want a big page, so we opened it back up. We opened it back up a few months ago to be visible. But yeah, it's a no bullshit page. It's a no bullying page. So yeah, everyone's welcome.
Okay. I'll follow that one as well. I didn't think to go look for that earlier, but I knew you had the YouTube channel because I do follow it, and I see most of your material in the Kamado Joe Australia and New Zealand group that I pop in and out of down there, and that's where I see most of what Luke does also. And swear words. You see that, Glen?
I do see that. And anyone that follows me is going to be watching this thinking, this doesn't sound or look anything like the Glen I know.
Well, that's because everything you do, you preface it with a language warning.
Yes. I'm not drinking. I'm not barbecuing, and I'm not music. There's no music going, and I'm not swearing because I'm on Man Cave Meals, and I know there's no profanity here, and I'm keeping it clean, everybody. So I apologize for it being a little bit robotic from my side.
Swear words do make the food taste better, though, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's an ingredient. It
It
is
is.
an ingredient.
It
And
is.
I pepper mine with some of these phrases also when I'm out cooking by myself out there. So uh, anyway, guys, check out this YouTube channel, and there's a Facebook page by the same name. So that being said, Glenn, one of the things I did yesterday actually is I went and pilfered a bunch of photographs from your Facebook page and stuff that I wanted to have a look at. Tell me about this pizza.
Okay. Smoked, deboned wing. What was it? It was a spicy, wasn't it? Hot and spicy wing smoked deboned pizza with a blue cheese dipping sauce. Yeah. So that was a photo comp we did with Barbecues Galore, and the whole point of that comp was it was supposed to be 6 rounds or something, like 2 people verse off, and then like semifinals and so on and so forth. So I was asked to do it, and I thought I only have to do one because I probably wouldn't win because I was going up against well-known comp cooks, excuse me, about the computer. But then everyone pulled out. It was just me and this other bloke, so we had to do 3 rounds, unfortunately. So it went longer than I expected. But yeah, but that went really well on all the social medias because everyone liked the idea of it.
It looks delicious. Are those cherry tomatoes?
Cherry tomatoes, rocket. Smoked the wings at around 150 Celsius, 300 Fahrenheit, John, half and half, over cherry wood actually, and then deboned them. And I tossed them through a hot sauce. And that hot sauce my friend makes, Sabarak sauces, if anyone's interested, he makes unbelievable sauces. And then baked them on a pizza. So I took them to almost cooked and finished them off on the pizza.
So what kind of cheese blend do you have on there?
Mate, honestly, I can't remember now. It was probably mozzarella and parmesan, which is usually my go-to.
It looks good. So, and the next picture I have here is obviously this. Look at this crust, guys. This man knows how to make pizza. That's beautiful. That's crazy.
I had to make that a thicker base than I'd normally make pizzas to hold the weight of the wings to be able to have them dipping in the sauce. So it's a lot thicker than I normally like it, but I had to have it for that weight. Stephen, the deboning the wings was easier. There's a little video on my Instagram of me deboning the wings, and the bones just come clean out.
So you cooked this on the Joe?
I cooked I smoked the wings on the classic, and I did the pizza on the Big Joe.
On the stone, on the pizza stone?
On the pizza stone, yeah.
What, maybe 500 Fahrenheit, 250 Celsius, somewhere along there?
Yeah, that was a lot lower than what I'd normally do a pizza at. So I think it was around 550 Fahrenheit.
Right. Okay. So that looks delicious. And you said it's a ranch dipping sauce?
A blue cheese.
A blue cheese? Did you make that?
Yep.
I have a blue cheese dip recipe of my own as well, but mine is chunky. I buy the crumbled blue cheese, and I don't process it down any smoother than that. But I'm a huge blue cheese fan. I think blue cheese is something that was introduced to me as a child, and I've never lost my love for that. It's got so many great uses. This is a different pizza, but this is more of a Neapolitan style. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, well, this is my normal pizza, what I normally cook. That's the base I like. And every time I do a pizza and put it on social media, especially in Australia, everyone asks recipe. And John, as you know, recipe is only part of the pizza process. There's a lot more to it. So
well, they don't ask me. They don't ask us for recipes. They distill it down. Even they ask time and temp.
Right. Okay. Now over here it's recipe.
Oh, man. Yeah. Recipe. I can give people a recipe for a pizza like that all day long, and they'll never be able to produce it.
That's right, because it's so much more involved in
Pizza,
spreadsheet.
baking, pizza, bread, that stuff is way more complicated than barbecue. Jeff and I don't know if you saw any of the stuff Jeff and I did during the pandemic. Jeff and I went on a baking spree during the pandemic and learned how to bake a bunch of breads and pastries and stuff that we like. And it's a lot more difficult than barbecue meats.
No, that's right. That's right. I agree.
This,
so I put a questionnaire out on the Australian Low and Slow page in Australia. It's got like 275,000 members, so it's probably well and truly the biggest barbecue page in Australia.
are you culturing your own yeast, or are you using commercial yeasts?
No, just using commercial yeast.
Don't do the sourdough yet. You need to do that. You ought to try that. Your pizza skills are good enough that you need to experiment with the sourdough. You really should give that a try sometime.
It's on the list, mate. It's on the list with 1,000 other things.
When you a dough like this one, are you doing a 24-hour ferment or a 48 or 72? How are you going here?
No, this was only, from memory, 5 hours.
So short. Have you done any longer ferments?
Yes, I've done 24 and 48.
So do you like the flavor? Do you like the flavor development you get in the longer ferments?
I do, but to be honest, I don't think it's. I never know I want pizza until the day I want pizza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm never really thinking 2 days in ahead. Oh, I'm going to have pizza on this day.
Glenn, I'm the same way. And it's hard for me to prepare for that, and that's why I have a dough recipe of my own that I can have from the time I make up my mind I'm going to have pizza, that I can have it in the oven in 2.5 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Yeah,
that's right.
But this is a good testimony then to the fact that you can have a dough that looks like this if you know what you're doing, and it takes practice. This is not a beginner level pizza right here, guys. So a lot of my audience.
I missed the first part of your question there, Stephen.
Let's see.
No, I don't touch the crust at all, mate. I do push in the middle and work my way out, and then I pick it up and hand stretch it, not touching the crust at all. I don't pinch the crust.
So
there's a full video on that cook there. There's a full video on the YouTube, start to finish, and it's all time stamped.
Everybody loves pizza. I don't know anybody in my particular audience that doesn't like pizza, but a huge majority of my audience have not taken the step of making their own dough yet. And because of that, I've made some videos on how to take a pre-made dough. You know, you can buy dough in the grocery stores it's not bad, but it can't, with most of those grocery store doughs that we have here, have sugars and things in them that can't withstand the higher temperatures that you would encounter in a cook like this. And one of the common misunderstandings people have about pizza is they think that you just cook it at a higher temperature, it's going to make it better. And the first time they try that, they take a pizza that looks okay on the top, and on the bottom it's black. It's charcoal on the bottom. And there's some science, unfortunately, to pizza doughs, and the amount of water that's in the dough. Glenn, are you on a pizza like this one here? Are you somewhere between a 60 and 65% hydration on a dough like that?
That was 60%, yeah.
60. So 60 is typical. 60 can handle a lot of heat. The trade-off is if you've got a thicker pizza with more toppings on it, it's going to need to be on the grill longer in order to cook. And for that pizza to survive the grill for a longer period, it needs to have more water in the dough. So if you had the previous pizza, Glenn, was that maybe a 65 or a 70% dough on that one?
That was, more like 70, because it needed that extra.
It was going to have to spend more time on that pizza stone at a lower temperature, and you need the water to keep that dough from becoming crunchy or too crisp. So,
Yeah.
but this is beautiful. This is absolutely a beautiful pie.
Yeah, this one was
This
cooked at around 650 Fahrenheit from memory.
this Glenn is something that I want to try, and I still haven't done this yet. I've got the video you made on this. Tell us what this is, and tell us how these come together.
These are probably the easiest thing in the world to make, and they look fantastic. They're better than pizzas in my personal opinion. They're better than pizzas. A lot less work and prep involved. Easy dough to make, and it's just a Turkish pide. And again, I've probably got 8 or 9 recipes in my little book on how to make these, different ones that I've tried. You can have them hand stretched, you can have them puffy, you can have them light and crispy. This is my favorite way, light and crispy, not puffy. Something I'd never do with a pizza is with these, I roll out with a rolling pin. I never touch a rolling pin with pizzas. But yeah, like they're just basic, easy dough recipe, and fill it with whatever you want, basically.
So would this could you classify this as something similar to a calzone that's just not sealed up on the edge?
I'd say you could, but I think the Turkish population would probably find me and kill me. So I'm going to say no. It's nothing like
Right.
a calzone, or the Italians will come and kill me. Someone's going to come and kill me for sure. So let's just go
So,
with no for the sake of it.
well, I tell you what, guys, this is something when I come across certain people that have the skills like Glenn has, I'm gonna occasionally try to rip off something that they do and make a video of my own on that. And I'm
Please
gonna
do.
try this, but I'm gonna actually try it before I make a video. I'm not gonna try to make a video the first time I do it, because I'm gonna make this the first time I make this. It's gonna be ugly. It won't be pretty like Glenn's, and I'll tell you about it, and then maybe I'll come back and try to do this. But in the meantime, there is a video on this on Glenn's YouTube channel, right?
Yes, mate. Yeah, yeah.
So guys, check that out, because this is definitely something I want to try. This looks amazing.
And
And
I'll tell you, John, before you actually put them on the Kamado, they do look ugly. Like for anyone who tries to make these look ugly until you take them off the Kamado and baste them and put them back on, and then garnish them. They do look ugly. So don't be disparaged if you're cooking it and you think this looks absolute shit. It will turn out all right.
Right. This is something I'm aware of. I know that sometimes things don't look awesome until they're actually on the plate. So,
Yeah.
all right. What am I looking at here, Glenn?
That's a pork belly.
Pork belly. It's a rather thick pork belly with the skin on.
Yep.
So, how did you prepare this?
That one was quite wet. It had been back sealed, so all the juice had really sunk into the pork. So I had to dry that out for 4 days in the fridge with a wire rack. I wouldn't recommend drying it out much longer than that unless you know exactly how fresh it is. But this had a good life on it. It's had a good date on it. So I dried it. I got the jacquard, stabbed the hell out of it, chucked it in a wire rack, and chucked it in the fridge for 4 days until the skin was to the sort of like the feel of cardboard, and then skewered it, oiled it, salted it, and spun it over the coals at around 190 Celsius, 380 something Fahrenheit.
Question: did you
Yes.
jacquard the skin?
Yes.
I had never considered that. I'm learning
Oh, really?
something tonight. So that helps the skin dry.
Honestly, this is the first time I've ever used a jacquard. I just received it in the mail.
Well, this is the reason I brought this particular picture online, because I have done pork belly on the rotisserie before, and I have never been able to get the skin on mine to puff like that.
Yeah, and again,
It gets
I've done
it gets
quite a few pork
leathery.
bellies. Sorry?
It gets
leathery.
leathery and chewy. Yeah.
Okay. I can't say whether or not the jacquard made a huge difference, because a lot of my pork bellies come out puffy and crunchy. I don't know. So I'm looking forward to doing it again, just because this was the first time I used the jacquard, and
Okay.
that does look fantastic. I agree. Like it It was a fantastic. It was just the lighting and everything just worked perfectly. But I don't know if it made that big of a difference because the first time I've ever used the Jacquard.
Did you, when you were drying in the fridge, did you salt the skin during that drying process?
Usually I do. Usually I salt, and then I'll take it out after the first day, wipe the salt off, and do a bit of a process of salt on, salt off, salt on, salt off. This time I didn't bother. This time I just left it in there for 4 days, uncovered, without any salt. So normally I would. So this was like a tester with the Jacquard. I tried something totally different all the way across.
So will you do that again?
I would probably next time not do it again. I'd probably do it my original way to see if there was any real difference, or to try a bit of both. David Ong's a big a barbecue in Australia. He's in the comp teams and stuff, and he has a process where he does it not on the Kamado. I think it's Weber, but he doesn't use salt on his drying out process. So I thought I'd try a mix of his process and my process and see how it would go. Because he also doesn't oil or salt his until he cooks it for a while, and then he goes and oils and salts it. Or he salts it after. One of those two. So it's sort of a mix of both. I tried a mix of both styles there.
Jeff, have you done a skin on pork belly?
Nope.
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 You've done.
Is it not a common thing in America? Or is it less common?
I think it depends on where
depending
you
on where you
are.
get your pork belly at.
Okay.
I have experienced the Costco that's closest to me. They have pork belly. They have the large pieces of pork belly that are 10 pounds, which I guess is 4 kilograms roughly. They those don't have skin on them. The ones that are available there. There's another grocery store near me that does have skin on pork belly. In fact, I did a video not too terribly long ago on a small piece of skin on pork belly where I smoked it, and then I put the skin side down in a pan of hot oil to really crisp that skin after it had been smoked. And I don't know, being able to find where I am, skin on versus skin off, it's a hit or miss. I don't have a great source that I can depend on to get one way or the other close to me.
Do you dry your skin out? Or do you cook it the way it comes?
Well, on the most recent cook I did dry it, but I only went in the refrigerator for 24 hours or so, and I salted it while it was in the refrigerator to help pull some moisture out and to help put some salt in the skin. So what I should have done, and I'm going to try this next time, is when I salt that skin, I'm going to let the salt absorb into the skin for an hour or so, and then I'm going to invert it where any moisture that comes out will fall out below instead of reabsorbing into the skin. That might help. There's a lot of things I would like to try with pork belly that I just haven't done yet, because pork belly is absolutely decadent. It's delicious. It's something I love, but it's something I have to limit how much of it I eat, because I know it's horrible for my health. But it's something that I treat myself to periodically, and I am the only person in either side of my family that'll eat pork belly cooked this way. Everybody loves bacon, which has already been mentioned here, but smoked pork belly that's that tender, melt in your mouth texture. I'm the only person anywhere in either of my families that enjoys that. It's crazy. I don't know what's wrong with these people, Glenn. They just don't understand.
Yes.
But
yes.
this
Bacon,
one,
yes.
This one with the crunch, when you have that crisp, crackling crunch right beside that melt in your mouth tenderness, it's crazy. It's something everybody needs to try.
That's it.
Andrew says I should try the pork belly in the steak locker. That's an interesting concept. Glenn, have you had dry aged beef and any dry aged pork? Is that available to you, or do you do it?
I've only done the dry age in the Umai bags. There was always a whole Scotch fillet on rotation and every month it would just literally come out and go back in. Haven't done it in a long time. I haven't had dry aged pork. I have not had dry aged pork.
I just recently dry aged a whole rack of pork, and I am impressed so far with the flavor I've done. I've got some larger pieces of that I haven't cooked yet, but Andrew just mentioned here, maybe I wonder what it would be like to dry age pork belly. Now, that's something I'm going to try. I'm glad he mentioned it because it's interesting. One of the things I notice when you dry age beef, pork, or whatever, you're not only dry aging the protein, you're dry aging the fat as well, and it's pulling moisture from the fat during that process. And one of the things that happens is that fat, when you cook that or when you smoke that, that fat, the reduced moisture fat renders out much more quickly. So I'm curious about how that pork belly might cook. That pork belly might dry out during the cooking process before it gets tender, because pork belly is a protein that needs to slow cook if you're cooking it in large pieces. It's not like a strip of bacon. So I'll try it, Andrew. I will give that a shot.
I think you need to try it for everybody's sake.
Yeah, I
it has
have the tool.
to be
I have the
amazing.
tool to test it. So
Yeah.
I bought a steak locker, Glenn. This is it's a standalone dry aging. It's a purpose-built dry aging refrigerator where you have complete temperature and humidity control that I can do here at the house. So I will experiment with that. Let's see what else I've got here. Another piece of pork that Glenn's put on the grill here, or on the rotisserie, that absolutely looks amazing. Tell me about this.
That was for that photo competition as well. That was a pork rack skin on. That one I was able to get from the butcher, so it only needed to be dried out for, I think I dried it out for 36 hours or something like that. It wasn't as bad as it needed to be done, but I did salt it each time. I did salt it and would wipe the salt off after several hours and resalt it. And I follow that process to dry it out. That was so much nice. Well, see, like, you got that loin in there, so it's leaner and fatty. You can eat more of it than the pork belly. It's not as rich, if that makes sense.
So this has the loin. What we're looking at here is a bone-on loin with the belly still attached.
Yes.
Okay. So when you cook this, what temperature did you take the loin part to? How long did you leave that on there?
Look, from memory, I normally go by crackle and crackle alone. That's normally how I cook pork, and then I check it for internal temp. I think probably around 140, and then let it rest from memory.
Okay.
Yeah. This was a while ago, but that's normally what I take loin to. But it's normally ready. My rule of thumb is normally when the crackle's done, the pork's done.
Okay. You slice that into chops, bone-in chops?
Yes.
That's crazy. I've never had a piece of meat. This is a piece of meat that I would have to custom source. I would not be able to buy that anywhere. I might be able to buy that from Heritage Farms that makes the Cheshire, the heritage breed pork here in North Carolina. I might be able to get a piece of meat like that from them. That's definitely a specialty cut. Is that something that's easily available to you, Glenn, or did you have to ask for that?
No, I was just lucky. I went down. That's what I wanted to cook. I'd never cooked one like that before. I've done a couple of three bone ones. I went down to the local butcher and said, "This is what I want. I needed it to look epic." And he came out with that, and I said, "That's it. Give it to me now."
Now that's a good way to approach a butcher. I've never thought about that. You tell the butcher you want the piece of meat to look epic, and look what they gave Glenn.
Yeah. No, I was very excited when he came out with that. He said, "Where do you want me to cut it?" I said, "Give me the whole thing, mate. That's what I want. That's perfect."
The whole thing. And that's, let me take a guess and say that's 20 pounds.
Mate, I wouldn't even remember. All I can remember is it cost me $65, which I thought was actually very reasonable.
That sounds reasonable. I don't know
Yeah.
what the current exchange rate is, but
No.
I couldn't get that for 65 US dollars.
Yeah.
That's not
No,
going to happen, Jeff.
it was very
Jeff,
reasonable. I'm
that's
very surprised.
that's
Yeah.
$100 plus rack here, Jeff. What do you
Absolutely.
think?
I'm
Yeah.
looking probably 125 to get,
And the
you're
butcher's
talking
also going to
3, 6,
charge
8
extra.
bones.
Yeah, they're going to charge us extra because they French that as well. They've done some work on it.
Yeah,
There's some
exactly.
labor
No,
involved in that.
I was very impressed.
You got a great butcher, Glenn. You got somebody taking care of you down there.
Yeah, he's not a
I'd
bad
love
butcher.
to have that cut of meat. That looks awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun to cook. I'm going to investigate. I might investigate this next time. I'm waiting for Tanya. We'll talk to Tanya here at the end. Tanya and we need to make a run down to Heritage Farms, and this is something I might talk to them for in advance and see if they can have that ready for me because I've not seen this from them either. Okay, Glenn, fondant potatoes. This is something I've done before.
Yes.
Tell me about yours.
Very rustic style. I've done fondant potatoes in the past, where the little medallion style ones with the little cutters, but these were just too easy. It was the first time I've done them like that. They were just too easy. Just chop the two sides of the potatoes off, brown them off on one side, then flipped them and added chicken stock, garlic, butter, rosemary. Rosemary in there, and then that was direct. And just till I got that beautiful brown, that beautiful crust, and then I flipped them over, added everything else, and slid it off indirect to finish off, and they were amazing.
I've done these several times, and my wife likes these, and it's something I do. This is a great side to go with a big steak, or even a big slab of pork, depending on any protein, and you can cook this. Most of this cook is happening over direct heat, and like Glenn said, once you get that crust the way you want it on both sides of those potatoes, you take it off and finish it over indirect. He could, on his Big Joe here, he could move that over to the indirect side and just leave it there while he direct grills whatever else he's going to serve with that. Were you doing this as a specific cook, Glenn, or was this part of a meal you were prepping?
No, it was just part of a meal. I can't remember what we had with it. I think it might have been hanger steak. I think it was hanger steak. Yeah, I think I did the hanger steak on the classic. Yeah.
But man, these are delicious. I do mine with thyme instead of rosemary, but that's just a flavor preference. My wife is not a huge fan of rosemary, so I don't use it as often when I'm cooking for us. But I
would have used thyme as well, but we had none in the garden. All I had was rosemary or garlic chives.
Right. I keep thyme and rosemary both. I have those fresh all summer. And actually, the climate I'm in here, I can have rosemary year round. My rosemary plants don't die off in our winter. And the only difference is in the cold weather months, my rosemary is not quite as fragrant as it is in the warmer months, but I can still use it. But we get these look delicious, and it looks like there's some garlic. I see the garlic over here on the edge, and like you said, butter. And I will typically, this is one of the rare instances where I prefer to use salted butter. That way I don't actually have to, I don't salt the potatoes at all. I just use a salted butter in that. Those are delicious. Here's some more wings. Tell me about these wings, Glenn.
Oh God, I can't remember. I can't remember. That was I remember my wife made the sriracha mayo, which was fantastic, and they were just plain wings. I wouldn't have a clue what was on them. I probably did those. I went through a massive stage, and it's still probably my favorite way of cooking wings is like the vortex style in the Kamado.
Right. Yeah.
All the way around the outside, and just a little fire in the middle, and all
very
the
hot.
Fully. Yeah. So they get crispy, and we've just hit them with some chives as well. But that sriracha mayo that wife made, that was fantastic. I love sriracha.
Guys, people who are watching, keep this in mind. Glenn did not know I didn't tell Glenn what I was doing here. I just invited him on and I harvested all these photos. He doesn't know what's coming up. Each one of the this photo, I don't know. It may be 10 years old. I don't know, and
It's
Glenn
old.
might not remember. But I just, like I said, I went to Glenn's Facebook page and I went to the Australia group and harvested stuff that Glenn had posted in that group, and he didn't know anything coming into this what I was going to be bringing up. So, but yeah, the Jeff and I like cooking wings hot. I'm a
Yep.
I'm at 400 plus degrees Fahrenheit with a
Yep.
lot of airflow. I like that skin crisp, and I can get that skin like you have here in 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes or so in that environment. They come up really, really nice. Tell me what this is.
That's an abomination. Is what it's what
It
that
doesn't
is.
look like it looks good.
I can't. Is that a slice of brisket? It might be a big, thick slice of brisket. I was just trying to look. I tell you right now, mate, one of what I can't do photos. And every now and then I try and do something like this, and I think it looks all right, and then later on I think it looks like shit.
Well, I'm not here to critique your photo. I'm here to tell me about that food. Tell me what you put together here.
I think it was a brisket sub on a Turkish bread.
Did you make the bread?
Oh no! I didn't make the bread. No.
So that's brisket, cheese,
Brisket, cheese. I think there's caramelized
onions.
onion under there, tomato, and
Is that
yes,
arugula?
I think it might be sriracha, a sriracha sauce, or it might be one of the Savarak sauces. I can't remember.
That's a sandwich to feed a whole family.
Yeah, I took it to work the next day. Actually, it was huge.
You mean you don't barbecue for a living, Glenn? Is that not your primary career?
What? No, hell no.
This looks like a lamb chop.
It is a lamb chop.
Tell me about it.
Lollipop.
Yep. A little bit over how I'd normally like it, but I think that was from a rack, a lamb rack. Yeah, of course it was. It was a lamb rack. Yeah, a lamb rack, and just one of the chops.
I like lamb, and this is another one of the situations, Glenn, where I'm the only person on either side of my family that'll eat it. I cook it. When I cook it, I take it and I package it up in vacuum seal bags and reheat it for myself. But I don't know, that's still below a medium. I would say that looks like that's pretty close to a medium rare cook.
Yeah.
Where lamb, I know most people like lamb rare, and I do like lamb rare, but that looks delicious, and I would have absolutely no problem tearing into that. Now, when you serve something like that, Glenn, do you make a sauce to go with that?
Generally, for us, lamb needs mint sauce. That is like an Australian. It's just like an Australian thing. We have a mint sauce with our lamb, and normally, if we're having lamb, we have creamy mashed potatoes, heavily buttered, and like asparagus and broccolini and stuff like that.
Tell me about the mint sauce. How do you bring a mint? What is a mint sauce? Tell me about it.
We go to the fridge and we get a bottle of mint sauce out.
So you don't make your mint sauce?
No.
Tell me what's in this mint sauce. What is it? I'm not familiar with it.
Well, my
Just
grandmother
the
used to
green
make
mint
this.
sauce.
Hey, what was that, Jeff?
It's just a green mint sauce. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's just a green mint sauce. It's just mint chopped up. We my grandmother used to make a mint sauce. It was really good, but I don't know what she put in it. But just chopped up mint and probably some sort of.
It's almost like a jelly, John.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's okay. So it's a gel. It's not like an aioli or a
No.
a
No.
butter
No, it's more
straw.
like a jelly.
Okay. So it's sweet.
Oh yeah.
Minty.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. My grandmother used to make peppermint jelly, but I'm guessing maybe that's something that you would put on something like this.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't tried, so that's something I'll have to add to my things to do list as well. I'm gonna. I'll see if I can find a mint sauce that somebody else has made, so I'll know what one's supposed to taste like. Because I'm this is new for me. And I know what this is, Glenn, but tell me about it.
Jalapeno poppers wrapped in prosciutto.
This is a fairly popular thing here. Uh, these things go by a lot of names in the States. I think one of the more commonly used terms for this is, Jeff, what do they call it?
And Dave.
They used to call them jalapeno poppers.
Well, they call them atomic buffalo turds.
Okay.
I've made this before, and that's you've hollowed out the jalapeno pepper, you've loaded it with a cream cheese mixture that's seasoned. Is that correct, Glenn?
Yes, that's right.
And just wrapped it in prosciutto. I like prosciutto, and a lot of people wrap this in bacon. Uh, Prosciutto works better on a project like this because that prosciutto will cook and become a little firmer than your bacon will during that process. But this is something I love to cook, and I smoke that at about 250 Fahrenheit for an hour and a half, and they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah. They don't last long here.
These look delicious. Tell me about this one.
Sea scallops. Some of them had chili. The ones at the front with the red on the outside had chili. What was on top there? Can't remember what herbs they were. We always make sort of like a herby butter, and some have chili on them. And in the back's some. I'd say that'd be barramundi because that's the fish of choice here if it's not salmon. So yes, that'd be barramundi. Yeah, we love sea scallops. Actually, I might go pick up some tonight. Actually, since I'm home alone, it's a lot cheaper to eat them on your own than everybody else.
Yeah, that's a delicacy here too. I just did a scallop video recently with some very large scallops. Actually, it was last week, and they're pricey here in the States as well. But I like the method you've done here, cooking that in the shell over direct heat, and that's a really hot cook, correct? You cook that pretty hot.
Yeah, they don't take long.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Better. Oh no, yeah, not even that really.
No.
It all depends. It all depends how you like them. I can have them almost raw even, but also overcooked. Sometimes if you overcook and let the butter really burn on the outside.
Well, that's what I'm liking about what I see here is that browned.
Yeah, the flavor combination. The scallops can go a little bit too far if you do that, but the flavor combination with that burnt butter, oh my god!
Could you put the shell on with the butter and let it get a head start before you put the scallop in that?
Oh, that's a good idea.
And that way you could have the best of both. You could have the browning going on there and not overcook the scallop.
Yeah,
that might be something worth trying too. That looks delicious.
I like that. Yes.
Let's see where we are.
I totally agree with Steven. I'd rather have prosciutto over bacon.
Yeah.
Most of the time, bacon doesn't get cooked enough for you.
I agree.
But prosciutto, it firms up nicely.
It's floppy. And my wife will not eat bacon that's not got a crunch to it.
Yeah.
So she would not eat this stuff.
My brother lives in Texas.
Tell me about these.
Over here. Sorry?
Tell me about the pitas or the tacos that you've done here. Is that banh mi? Is that banh mi?
Yes. That's all homemade. They're actually that's I think that's it's either pulled lamb shoulder or pulled lamb flaps. Do you guys do lamb flaps over there?
I don't know the answer to that, Jeff.
Nope. Majority of the lamb we get is either chops or a rack.
Okay.
Or a leg, either one.
Yeah.
But that's about the only three cuts we get.
So lamb flaps over here is basically like the spare ribs of the pork, and you got the rib tips underneath. So that's a lamb flap over here. So that's either pulled lamb shoulder or lamb flaps. I think it's lamb flaps. And they're homemade bao buns, and the front's homemade gluten-free wraps because my wife and stepdaughter are gluten intolerant. So there, everything's there. That was really good. That was a real good feed.
Hey guys, all this greenery you see here, this is mint, correct, Glenn? That's mint.
That's mint. Yep.
Is it peppermint or spearmint, or is there a difference?
I just thought it was mint.
Mint. Yeah. Okay.
It's just mint.
Oh boy.
And those bao buns, I never made them before. It was super easy and super good. I think it
I've
was
never made those before either.
Marion, I can't remember. She's an Australian, an
I
Asian
need to learn.
Australian.
Actually, I'm
And,
going to put Tanya on that.
followed her recipe. It was fantastic.
I'm going to have Tanya make the bao buns because that's something I want to do as well. Those look delicious. This is the first of 2 pictures, Glenn. Do you remember what this cook is?
I'm going to say, is that a beef cheek ragu?
It is, man. And let me tell you, beef cheeks are something I have yet to been able to find here. But when I found this in your feed, I said, I got to ask Glenn about this. I can get pork cheeks, but I haven't been able to source beef cheeks yet. And this is the first. Let me just go on to the next picture, guys. This is what this comes up to, right, Glenn?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Tell me what's happened here.
Geez. Anything like this I do, you can either do it like I did with the beef cheeks off to the side, or you can put a rack above your pan and let the juices fall into it. But it's really just go by taste. You break everything down and you just keep on tasting as you go and adding what is needed. It's really hard to do recipes and stuff like that because it's everyone's different and you've just got to change it as it goes. There's heaps of fresh ingredients in there. There was, from memory, from the photo, I think I saw some carrots in there. Obviously, the whole tomatoes.
Right.
Is that the same photo from the same cook, or is that 2 different cooks there, mate?
It may be 2 different cooks.
Yeah, I think it's 2 different cooks.
Yeah, I wasn't real sure about that when I harvested the pictures, but this,
I think that's a different cook.
It's the same idea.
Yeah, I've done.
But
countless.
the beef cheeks have to go low and slow for a long time until they become like flaky, fall apart tender, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
when they get that nice,
you can actually finish them in here as a braise process, maybe.
Yes, that's exactly right. Start the sauce off with the cheeks.
This
Finish
is
them off
something
in the sauce. Pull it through. Add your
I
pasta.
want to dive head first into that. I do.
I'm drooling.
Yeah. We have another rack of pork back here with
That's lamb. Rack of lamb.
Oh, that's lamb. Okay, it
Lamb,
sure is. Is that a corn on the cob in the background?
Corn on the cob. Yep.
Potatoes,
Potatoes,
onions.
onions, carrots, something else in there. Pumpkin or something. Sweet potato.
I'm not sure what we have right back here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. Probably sweet potato.
Yeah. Okay. So this got plated. This is all plated together. Is there a sauce going with this?
No, so we don't make gravies. Like a lot of people would put gravy with this. We don't use a lot of sauce. I'm not a big fan of sauces. So every now and then I'll use a sauce if I really like it. But if the only thing that would come out there sauce-wise would be mint sauce for the lamb. If anyone
So
wants that.
your veggies here are oil, salt, and pepper. What do you do there?
Yep. Oil, salt, and pepper. Yep.
Garlic, maybe some garlic.
Maybe some garlic sometimes.
John, I consider butter to be a sauce.
Exactly.
It really
I love
is.
that sauce. That's different.
Yeah. Here's
That's
another first of 2, Glenn. Tell me about your meatballs.
Smoked meatballs, homemade sauce, and I don't know what the next photo is, so I don't know.
This is a different cook.
That's a different cook. That's mointball bolognese. That one.
Okay, I thought I had 2 photos that went together here, and that one doesn't. That's different. Apparently, I didn't. I missed the second. I didn't harvest the second photo to go with this one. Maybe.
That's okay. It just would have been the meatballs would have been finished off in the sauce and served with pasta, and the other one was a mointball bolognese.
That's making me hungry, Jeff.
I'll tell you.
Look at that. And I can see here that he's going to grate on some Parm or some Asiago or something.
And John, that looks so keto friendly to us, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm not. When I'm looking at Glenn's menu, I'm not worried about my diet so much.
I never worry about my diet.
Glenn,
it's 11:35 and I'm really feeling like a scotch.
Go for
After all
it.
the barbecue foods come out, I was like, oh yeah, well, you know, maybe I don't have to drive anywhere. I'll just stay home and cook.
Here's the photo that was out of order that was supposed to go with those meatballs.
There we go. Yep.
I had a sequence problem. This is the second photo on the meatball set. So that's garnished with a little bit of parsley there. Beef ribs. Beef ribs are my favorite thing ever. So what's your process on cooking a beef rib?
These ones, God, it's such an old photo. I don't even think it's mine.
Is that not yours? Oh boy, I got somebody else's photo.
No. I remember that pot at the back. I know that little pot that someone bought me for Christmas, but it was that's the only thing that gave it away. I don't know what I did there, but I probably didn't do a good job. But
it looks good.
I love beef short ribs, hot and fast, 150 Celsius. I don't know what you guys class as hot and fast, actually. 150 Celsius. I'll smoke them until they're probably 5 hours, I'd say, with like a really good bark. And then I'll wrap them in paper, and I'll take them through to probe tender, and I'll rest them for an hour. And that they are probably my favorite low and slow cut. Good cook.
Yeah, me too.
Beef short
Absolutely. Ribs. Those things are amazing. And I think this is the finished picture of those ribs.
Not too sure, but yeah, they are my ribs.
Yeah, man, those look amazing.
Beef ribs are awesome.
Yeah, they're my favorite thing. So I think this is our last photo, Glenn.
Salmon and Moreton Bay bugs.
Salmon and what?
They're called Moreton Bay bugs.
Okay, so that's why I brought this picture in, because I wasn't exactly sure what I was looking at here. This is not a lobster?
No, it's from the lobster family, but it's not. They're only found in Moreton Bay, which is where we go fishing when we go. I don't catch them, but they are very hard to get. They're extremely expensive. Sometimes they're like $70 a kilo.
Is that like a sweet lobster, Glenn?
No, it's not really sweet. I wouldn't say it's sweet, but it is amazing. You just split them down the middle. I heard you guys talking about lobster tails a couple of weeks ago, and the way you cook them, Jeff, is exactly how I cook them. Take them out of the shell and put them back on top. With the Moreton Bay bugs, just split them up the middle, hit them with a bit of a garlic, butter, herbs, grill them direct for only a few minutes. You get some nice char, and then flip them over on the shells, and you use the shells to hold them upright on the grill, and then just finish them off. And they're fantastic. They're expensive, but they're unbelievable.
Huzaifa wants to know what do you cook on a regular basis? What's one of your favorite things to do when you're cooking for yourself and your family? What do you like?
In winter, curries.
Curry?
Like Indian curries. In winter, I love Indian curries.
Okay. What proteins are associated with that?
Lamb.
Curry
a lot of lamb.
Okay, that's interesting to me, because lamb is a sweeter. It's a lot. It's actually, in my opinion, it has a sweeter flavor than pork even. So you have a contrast, maybe of sweet and spice with lamb and curry. I've never tried a curried lamb before. You've given. I'm learning. I'm getting a lot of ideas in my my Rolodex here to try based on this conversation, Glenn. I'm learning something.
Well, that's good. Okay, I'm going to try those scallops later on with the burnt butter, and then put the scallops on after. That's a genius idea.
So a curried lamb, interesting. So you like spicy. You like the spicy.
No, I'm not really a big spicy fan, to be honest.
But you like curry.
Yeah, but I have to make it quite friendly for my wife because she can't handle heat. None of the kids can handle heat. So I handle a little bit of heat, but not too much. So I've got to make it mild. But lamb curries Indian curries don't have to be fiery to be curries, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
Just hold back on the chilies.
So I need to do a curried mint kangaroo chop. That's going to be my project. That's going to be my Glen project. Okay. Okay. Huzaifa, I'm with you. I'm gonna get some curry on the agenda. Uh, I wanted to do a tiki masala sometime soon. Do you like that, Glenn? Have you done
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
What
chicken tikka masala,
chicken? Yeah,
chicken,
that's a
butter chicken.
Tanya and I went to a new Indian restaurant in our community not long ago, and that's what I had. And oddly enough, they had the tiki masala on the menu. I could order it at 5 different heat levels, from from a mild to you're going to need help getting out of here. And
Yeah, yeah.
I started with the mild, and it was good. And next time I go back to that place, I'm going to get the next up. I'm going to see how far I can climb that ladder because I know I know how difficult it's going to be on the high end because I like spicy, but I can't handle extreme spice. So Andrew says he likes Thai curries. I don't know if I've ever had a Thai curry. Most of my curries have been of the Indian persuasion, but Thai food in general is spicy as well. It's kind of like Szechuan. It's hot and
That's why nuclear.
yeah, it can be. It's not always, but it can be. And uh, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Southeast Asian cuisine, including India, is a little spicy by nature. But does the spice is I don't know how to ask this question because I don't know enough really about Australian culture. What do the Australian people love spice? Do they like the high heat levels, Glenn? Is that a thing? They look for high heat?
Yeah, no, a lot of Australians do. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. They go to the places that basically, if you can eat it, you get it for free because it's that hot.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about American barbecue sauce
Okay.
in Australia. There's a lot of varieties of American barbecue sauce. Do the Australians like sweet, sticky, sugary American barbecue sauces like a Kansas City style barbecue sauce?
Yes, they do. I don't, but yeah, it seems to be Australia has really gone down the road, and especially in the low and slow side of things, of the American style, the sweet, sugary sauces. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Which
Hank,
sauce do you
thanks
like,
for joining
Glenn?
us tonight. Yep, Hank,
I don't
glad you
sauce.
could be
Honestly, I
here.
don't sauce anything. Hey, we'll do the mint sauce on the lamb. I like the Sabarak hot sauces on eggs. But and I did that. I did that hot sauce wing pizza because I wanted to do a take on the spicy wing with the blue dipping sauce, but with a pizza. So it was my interpretation of the two meeting. But other than that, we don't sauce beef short ribs. We don't sauce brisket. Well, here we don't add sauce. We don't sauce any of them. So
Okay.
even pork ribs, we don't. I don't glaze them. They're naked. So I'm not a big
So
sauce fan personally.
you're basically a dry rub person.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't. I find sauce is too sweet for me. Um, if I've got to cut something down, it'll be in that area so I can drink more scotch and eat more food and keep the
There
sugary
we go.
sauces away.
So,
Never thought about it that
okay,
way.
Glenn, you need to work on it. You need to have a bourbon based or a Scotch based barbecue sauce. That's a possibility. There's a
I
lot
know.
going
Yeah.
on there.
I've done a few
So,
Maker's Mark sauces. Yeah,
yeah.
they were good. They were good, but still a bit too much for me.
Well, Glenn, I appreciate you coming on with us tonight. We're running a little over. I need to let you go, and I need to get shut down as well because my wife is uh, getting ready to be busy. She's got a basketball game. It's college tournament season here in the basketball world, and Tanya's team is getting ready to kick off. Tanya, has your game started yet?
Not yet. You have got probably 10 more minutes. And
Okay.
first of all, Anthony, I sent you a message, dude. I am so sorry. Tell your wife, my condolences. I know how she feels. And, looks like they'll have a strong team next year, which
Okay.
But anyway,
Well, we're going to wrap up, and like I said, Glenn, I appreciate you coming on with me. I've had a great time. I'm a big fan. I am a huge fan of everything you post. I'm following you, so keep up the great work. And you've inspired me in a couple levels tonight. Things I'm going to try. I'm going to look at the mint sauce thing with the lamb, and I'm going to give that a try. It sounds odd to me, but it sounds like I'm gonna give it a shot and see what I think. I'm gonna make a mint jelly, and I'm gonna do a couple of lamb chops, rare, and I guess we just smear it on there, right, and slice it up and have at it.
Mate, yeah, give it a shot. See what you think. Thanks for having me, John. It's been a real pleasure to be invited on. Lovely to meet you, Jeff and Tonya. All the best, and yeah, as you know, I've been a big fan. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have ever bought a Kamado J, so I appreciate that. Because I wouldn't have
Oh,
bought
I don't know about that. You'd have found your way in it without me, one way or the other. People who cook like you do, Glenn, don't depend on somebody like me to bring you into the fold. So I know the stuff you were cooking on your gas grill looked just as amazing as this Kamado grill stuff. I have no doubt about that. So thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on. And guys, we got to call it a night. I'm ready to shut down. We're going to be back next Friday. I'm not sure what our topic will be by next Friday, but I'll let you know. And everybody, yeah, y'all have a
Thanks,
good week.
guys. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good one.